In the near future, overpopulation has resulted in such extreme shortages of global resources that the United Nations has mandated all nations reduce their populations by 5% each year. Some countries take to euthanizing their elderly, while others implement one-child policies. The United States of America implements their own population control measure in 10 to 241, a standardized test for all students grades 1 through 12. Those who pass the test proceed to the next grade or graduate, while those who fail are euthanized. This test becomes colloquially known as the thinning. Lena Michaels is a middle-class high school student in Austin, Texas, whose mother is in failing health. Even though she is a bright student who has no worries about passing the coming thinning, her younger brother, Nate, is having trouble studying. To that end, she gives Nate a study guide, a set of contact lenses that provides answers to tests. In the same city is a boy named Blake Redding, the son of Governor Dean Redding, who is similarly intelligent but rebellious and dating a girl named Ellie, whom his father disapproves of. The day of the thinning comes. Lena and Blake both pass, but their relief is cut short when Lena discovers that Nate, who lost his contact lens cheat on his way to school, has failed, as well as Ellie. Blake desperately calls his father to ask him to save Ellie, but Dean refuses, stating that no one is exempt from the law. Blake tries to create a diversion so Ellie can escape, but fails and is forced to watch as Ellie is taken away to be executed. The following year, Lena, now the only caretaker for her young siblings, tutors her sister Corrine. She is now in the first grade and will be undergoing her first thinning. Blake, meanwhile, has become cold towards his father. On the day of the thinning, he records a video and places it in an envelope in a mailbox on his way to school. One of Dean's agents intercepts the package. The video is a recorded suicide note, as Blake plans to intentionally flunk the test and allow himself to die to send a message to his father, who plans to announce his candidacy for president, about the system he supports. Dean calls the head proctor of his son's high school's thinning, Mason King, and instructs him to alter the test results so his son would pass. When the thinning test ends, Blake is shocked to find that he had passed, in spite of his intentionally trying to fail the test. Equally shocked are Lena, who has failed, and her teacher, Ms. Cole. Before Lena is taken away, Cole slips her ID badge, which Lena hides in her mouth as she is taken to the thinning chamber along with other students who had failed. Blake, in desperation, sneaks into Mason's office to pull the test scores, but his efforts are rebuffed by the need for a password. As a Hail Mary, he pulls several cords from a fuse box, causing power in the school to go out and forcing the facility into lockdown. Lena takes advantage of the situation to make her escape, using Ms. Cole's ID badge to escape the death chamber and run. Blake and Lena, who are both acquaintances, meet as they make their way through the school. Together, they plan to discover what really happened that caused Blake to pass and Lena to fail. Blake subdues one of the school guards to disguise himself, while Lena makes her way to the server room and, with the help of a tech-savvy friend, Kellen, who is leaking the increasingly chaotic situation at the school to the media, gains access to the school's servers. To her horror, she discovers that, in spite of having a score of 98%, she was listed as having failed the test while Blake passed, with a score of 15%. Several other students had also been falsely registered as having passed or failed, in spite of their test scores. In addition, during last year's test, Blake's girlfriend Ellie had a score of around 80%, but was listed as having failed. Ellie sends evidence of the tests being rigged to Kellen, who subsequently leaks the test results to the media. Unfortunately, the power in the school is restored, and Lena is caught on camera hacking into the computer. She is apprehended by Mason as Blake is also captured in a failed attempt to rescue the other students in the death chamber. With the news now reporting on his corruption and jeopardizing his candidacy, Dean Redding orders Mason King to halt the thinning and revise the scores. As such, Lena, along with the other students who had actually passed the test, are released. Unfortunately, as per Dean's instructions, the students who actually failed the test are to be put to death, including Blake, his own son. As Lena is reunited with Corrine, who had passed the test, Dean holds a press conference where he pins the blame of his own manipulation of the thinning on Mason and contemplates on the death of his son. Little does Dean know, Blake isn't dead. The lethal injection he and the other failing students received was actually a sedative. They are taken to a secret underground facility responsible for making the tablets that the thinning test are conducted on, with Blake discovering that other failed students, including Ellie, are not killed, but instead used as slave labor. Now let's talk about some life lessons this movie taught us. 1. Value of every human life. In the thinning, the concept of thinning, students who fail a test shines a harsh light on the value society places on individuals. This system ranks worth based on test results, disregarding each person's unique potential. This is emphasized in the scenes where students are taken away after failing, underscoring that reducing people to numbers can blind society to individual worth and potential. 2. Questioning authority is essential. Blake Redding, played by Logan Paul, is the son of the Texas governor, yet he questions the system when his girlfriend Ellie is taken away after failing. Blake's actions illustrate that questioning authority is necessary when it becomes oppressive or unjust. His refusal to blindly follow rules inspires others to see the flaws in the system, suggesting that standing up to authority can catalyze change. 3. Wealth and power don't equal morality. Blake's father, Governor Redding, embodies the lesson that wealth and power don't make a person inherently good. Throughout the film, he manipulates the system for personal gain and political leverage, showing that power can corrupt. This highlights that those in positions of authority may not always act with the public's best interest in mind, urging viewers to evaluate people by their actions rather than their status. 4. True strength comes from standing up for others. Blake takes significant risks to uncover the truth behind the thinning system. Despite the risks to his safety, he advocates for others who are unjustly targeted, like his classmate Lena. His courage in fighting an unjust system, despite his privileged position, shows that true strength lies in standing up for those who cannot fight for themselves, even when it's difficult or dangerous. 5. Society often values compliance over individuality. The thinning process rewards those who follow the rules and achieve high scores, punishing those who don't conform to the academic standards set by society. The story shows how society frequently values compliance over individuality, pressuring people to fit into molds rather than recognizing their unique qualities. Lena, for example, is a high achiever who still questions the system, symbolizing the importance of individuality in a conformist world. 6. Intelligence and potential cannot be measured by a single test. The film's central concept, that students are thinned, based on a single test, demonstrates the limitations of standardized testing in measuring intelligence. Characters like Ellie, who is highly capable yet fails the test, illustrate that a test score can't capture every dimension of intelligence or potential. This challenges the viewer to consider how real-world systems may be unfairly evaluating individuals on a limited scale. 7. Moral integrity can cost you. When Lena discovers the truth about the thinning program, she risks everything to expose it. Her choice to act ethically comes at a high personal cost, underscoring the reality that standing by one's morals often requires personal sacrifices. Her bravery serves as a reminder that staying true to one's values can sometimes result in difficult consequences, but it's a price worth paying for integrity. 8. Systemic injustice needs collective action. Blake and Lena represent the power of collective resistance. On their own, they can only go so far, but together, they challenge the corrupt thinning system. Their combined efforts to unveil the truth highlight that tackling systemic injustices often requires the collective action of people willing to stand together against oppressive structures. 9. Dehumanizing people is dangerous. In the movie, the government sees those who fail the thinning test as dispensable, treating them as a population burden rather than human beings. This reveals how dangerous it is to dehumanize individuals, as it leads to policies that disregard basic human rights. The film prompts viewers to consider how systems that reduce people to statistics can lead to harmful practices in the real world. 10. Personal growth can come from difficult situations. Throughout the film, both Blake and Lena grow as individuals as they confront the harsh realities of their society. They face personal fears, challenge their own beliefs, and emerge with a stronger sense of purpose. Their journey suggests that adversity often leads to growth, teaching us resilience and helping us discover our values in difficult times. These insightful reflections on the film, The Thinning, emphasize themes of individuality, integrity, and questioning authority. What is your own reaction about the movie? Feel free to tell us what you feel about this movie, The Thinning.